Hello friends, welcome back once again to Docker Desktop in Windows 10. In today's Docker Desktop video, I am going to give you a detailed demo how you can go ahead and implement an individual project, customize everything, write your own code and implement that code with the help of Docker Compose. So today we are going to use Docker Compose, write a YAML file and deploy it. What previously we were doing, we were just firing the Docker run command in the terminal and running the various Docker containers. But in today's video, we are going to do everything from the scratch. So right now, only one container is running inside my Docker desktop. There is only one image. So let's go ahead and start. First, we are going to check the Docker Compose version on our Docker desktop. So currently Docker Compose version 1.29.2 is installed on my system. So let's go ahead and try to build an individual project with the help of this Docker Compose. Version doesn't matter, I can go ahead and use the highest version. I will show you during writing the YAML file as well. So what we need to do, we need to first pull the image. So what kind of image we are going to pull today? That is the check-in image. So and try to pull it from the repo. It's trying to pull the image from repository of the Docker Hub. So Jenkins image is getting pulled. Finally, we have pulled the Jenkins image. Let's check Docker images, and we do have the Jenkins image over here. And with the help of this Jenkins image, we are going to deploy our Jenkins server with the Docker Compose command. So what we are going to do now, we are going to write this file. Vi is the editor which we are going to use. Vi docker hyphen compose. Its O is missing. compose.yaml. Now press insert and we are going to specify the version first. Version colon, this one is the version of the Docker Compose. So right now 1.29 is on my Docker desktop, but I can use 3 or 2. So I'm going to use 3 version, and then I'm going to services which I am trying to launch with this Docker Compose file. And what kind of service I'm going to run? Jenkins, and then container underscore name Jenkins image. What is the image we do have? We do have the image Jenkins slash Jenkins, which we have recently downloaded. Ports, on what port we are going to run it? So I'm going to run it on some different port. So 8088 map to container port 8080. You can use 8080 port to map with container port 8080, but I'm using here different port. And I'm going to define the networks and hyphen net. Before that, I'm going to define the volume as well. So here I'm going to give volumes. So volume is actually going to store our data which we are going to use in the Jenkins server. So it is going to already create a data volume in where.jenkins home, but we are going to forward it. Pwd is the present working directory, and Jenkins underscore data is our folder name, and map with where this is the default volume folder which Jenkins will create to store the data, and we are going to map this folder with this folder Jenkins data in our present working directory. And after that we move to the net part, and we have to create the network as well, networks and net. So that's all. We have defined the version of the Docker Compose file. Then we are using the services, and this is the service which we are going to use, Jenkins. We have given the container name image Jenkins, and then we map to the port 8088 to 8080 of the container. we have given the volume this one, and we have attached our container to the net network, and we have here created the net network as well. So that's all from our end. Let's go ahead and save this file, right, and quit. And if we are going to check, then we have the YAML file created over here, but we also need to make a directory name Jenkins underscore data, because we have defined in our YAML file Jenkins data. So we do have the YAML Docker file over here and Jenkins data file over here. Now what we have to do, we have to check the ID of our user, that is of the UID 1000, and we have to give the permission to that folder sudo chon 1000 to 1000, and our folder name is, just copy and paste. Now ls and check. So we do have the docker compose.yaml file over here and jenkins underscore data folder here, which is actually going to store our Jenkins data inside this. So if Jenkins get terminated, our data remains safe. So let's get our Docker compose file and see. This is the code, YAML code which we have written. So let's fire this up. Docker compose up hyphen d, and let's see what is going to happen. It seems there is some error. The compose file docker compose YAML is invalid. So we have missed out something. Everything seems fine with the network. So we need to open our YAML file and we have to make few changes over here. It seems we have missed out something and we didn't specify a space over here. That's why we are getting error. Now everything seems fine. So just save it, colon wq. First let's cat docker compose and see. Now it should work. Docker compose up hyphen d and see here. So it's creating the network docker hunt underscore net, creating Jenkins, and it seems working. It's done. So let's check docker ps, and voila, we do have the Jenkins servers deploy over here. You can see this is the container ID, this is the name, and we have mapped to 88 port. So if we are going to check the network, we do have a new network docker hunt, and we have mapped our Jenkins container with this docker hunt network. So you can see now we do have the container Jenkins and mapped with the IPv4 address 172.20.0.2/16. So this is our network docker hunt, which we have created along with the docker container in YAML file. So what we want to do now is to check our docker desktop. So let's check our docker desktop and see what it has created. So it has created a project docker hunt, and inside this docker hunt we do have our Jenkins server deployed on this. If we are going to check the image, we do have the Jenkins image of 462.98 MB over here. Now let's go ahead and check this. So let's open this in browser and see what will come up. And finally browser has loaded Jenkins server on our local host at port 8088. Finally we have deployed our Jenkins servers through the project implementation, and our project name is Docker Hunt, and inside this Docker Hunt we do have our Jenkins servers deployed. In this way we are going to deploy any kind of project and implement it through Docker compose command, write our own YAML file and define everything. So here you can see we have defined the version of the Docker compose, we have defined the service, container name, port where which it will get exposed to the local host, and where volume is going to mapped, and network in which it is going to attach, and we have finally defined the network which it created.